So welcome to another GMBN maintenance video. In this video, we're talking about something that you guys have been requesting. It's how to adjust a front derailleur. Now, I'm going to be totally open and honest at the start of this video. I don't really use a front mech that much. This is my cross-country bike, and I'm going to try my very best to teach you guys how to adjust it and set it up so it's running smooth. Okay, so with that front mech, there are 5 points of adjustment. The first one that I want to talk about is height and also the angle at rotation that front mech is at. Then I want to talk about the low and the high limits of the actual mech itself. And finally, the cable tension. Now, believe it or not, you're only going to need 2 tools to do this. In my case, it's a 2mm Allen key and also a 4mm Allen key. You might find that you need a Phillips screwdriver, so just check out the manufacturer's guidelines. So to start off this process, you're going to have that chain in the smallest chainring. And then we're going to thread that chain through the front derailleur. Once we've got that, it's all about attaching the front derailleur onto the bike itself. You're going to clasp it onto the seat tube of the bike. I've got a mount right here which actually fixes and only gives me up and down adjustment. But you might have actually angular adjustment where you can rotate it round and get that perfectly set up. What you're looking for is it to almost be parallel above the chain rings. If you have it over rotated either way, you're going to find that it's going to rub on that front mech, and it's just not going to be as efficient, and it's going to give you a horrible grinding noise when you're pedaling the bike. Now it comes on to actually setting that height. If you've got it too low, when you go to shift up, it's actually going to catch on this chain ring right here. If you've got it too high, well, the problem is that chain could actually come off the chain ring and you're going to drop a chain, which you do not want. The perfect scenario is to have it just about 2mm above that chain ring. It's going to be able to shift perfectly over it, and you're going to hopefully keep that chain in the correct position. So let's use my 4mm Allen key and attach that on. Okay, so with the mech now set in adjustment position, what we're going to do is bring that cable through. So you're just going to have to thread that through the little hole here. Let's just get that all lined up. Okay, so now it is all just about getting that cable set through. Just going to pull it through, get that, and you've got to get it all lined up. So it just sits into that grub screw, and then I'm just going to use my 4mm to tighten that back up. Now later on we can actually finer adjust this using the barrel adjuster up at the front shifter. Let's move on to adjusting those high and low limit screws. We'll start with the low one first of all, since we're in the lowest gear. And you want to shift it onto that rear derailleur. You want to make sure that it's in the biggest cog or first gear. So let's have a look. Okay, so putting my Allen key in, I'm using a 2mm. You might be using your flathead or your Phillips screwdriver. If you actually wind that in, you're going to see that that's going to move that mech out towards me. But if you wind it back out, that's going to move it in towards the frame. What you want to have it is just so it's touching the chain, and then you're going to wind it off ever so slightly, because you don't want that rubbing, because again you're going to get that horrible noise, the kind of metallic chain against metal sound that you just do not want. So let's get that set up. There we go, there's about 1mm or 2mm gap, just enough in there that the chain is not going to drop off and it's going to keep in place. Right, so we've got the low setting now adjusted. It's going to be time to move it into that big ring to adjust the higher setting, or the H that is on that front derailleur. It's going to move up to the handlebars and just get that front shifter and move it onto the big chainring. So you can hear there that click of it going into the next cog, and hopefully it's going to shift up. There we go, shifted right up. Now, if that hasn't happened for you, there's 2 things that you could have gone wrong here. You could have adjusted the wrong angle and the height, or you could have the cable tension at the wrong amount of tension already. So just go back and have a think about how your front mech is actually moving, and watch it move when you use that trigger on the front shifter. Okay, so now that we've got that in position, we're going to go on to setting that. I'm going to use my 2mm Allen key again. I'm going to pop that into the little hole there. I'm going to show you how this one moves. So actually by taking off the tension, so by winding it anti-clockwise, it's just going to move it further out towards me. And then by putting more pressure, it's going to move it in towards the frame. Now the cable tension at this point does have quite a big effect on it. Because it's at its maximum sort of rated tension already, you're not going to be able to push it in too much, because the cable is actually going to try and stretch, and you could end up damaging that front mech if you put too much tension on it. So just have a look, let's have a see where this is at. So I'm going to pull this out a little bit more. Again, because I'm in my biggest gear on the rear, you can just pull that out and you can look for that. I mean, you're not really ever going to have, ideally, your big chainring and your big cog on the rear, because if you're on a full suspension bike, you'll probably find that it could extend that chain a little bit too much, and you could end up damaging the chain itself. So I've got that just about in the right position where it's not actually going to drop down onto the lower cage and it's not going to skip over the chainring, and I'm going to drop a chain. So let's now shift it down the gears. We'll make sure that it all lines up through the whole cassette. Okay, so I've shifted down the cassette. It's now in the lowest or the smallest cog at the rear of the bike. We're just going to check that one final adjustment to make sure that the chain itself isn't actually rubbing, and it actually looks almost perfect. The chain line is spot on. So in this lowest cog, it's not rubbing on anything, and then when I shifted it back up, it wasn't touching anything. And of course, the most efficient point is to be in the center of that block with the chain almost parallel completely the whole way through that chain ring and also through the front mech. Now we can talk about going on to adjust that barrel adjuster to fine tune the cable tension to make sure that it's shifting up and down fast enough. Okay, so I'm going to come up to the other side of the bike now and work with that front shifter. I've got everything dialed in down here in terms of actual adjustment, but it's all about that fine tuning and adjusting the cable using this barrel adjuster. Now, if you wind that clockwise for you guys, what that's actually going to do is really just push the cable, so you're going to have more slack, you're going to have less tension. Pulling it out, which is anti-clockwise, it's going to give you more tension. So it's just going to really affect how fast it shifts up and down the front derailleur. Let's have a look and see where we're at. So okay, that's pretty good. It's not too bad, but we could probably get a little bit faster going. So what I'm going to do is add some tension just so it shifts up that little bit quicker. So if I just go by pulling this out, that's going to give me more tension on the cable, which should mean they'll actually pull that through faster. We'll do that once more. See the difference right there? There's just a couple of teeth difference, faster shifting. Then back down, it's spot on. Again, guys, this is really trial and error. You might have to play around with it to get it absolutely perfect. So there's two things left that if your front mech is not shifting well, you could actually think about. Number one is that if your cables are old and worn, then you could find that pushing that lever might actually be quite hard, so you could think about changing them. And also just make sure that you keep that front mech lubricated, because if you're getting grit, sort of winter riding grime getting in there, then it can really corrode it and it's not going to shift up that smooth. Now, if you've got any more mechanicals that you want to know about, then leave them in the comments section below. And if you want to watch more videos from GMBN, then make sure you click on that logo right here to subscribe, because you'll never miss a video again. Click right up there for how to adjust your rear derailleur, and click down there for how to clean your chain. Don't forget, if you found this video useful, let us know in the comment section down below and give it a thumb up like.